we used and made the packs build. And then since then, we've been doing part-time development as much as we can, still doing a lot of contract work. But yeah, so in production, like 6-7 months, but not full-time, unfortunately.
I can unmute, or is it unmuted? Yeah,
well, I think it's probably piping sound through the HDMI, so they weren't hearing audio on the feed.
Ah, so, okay.
Hopefully you guys can hear audio coming from the game now. I may have to turn it up a little bit. Well, I wonder if you can do it through there, because it sounds kind of garbled. The sound isn't very good.
Don't know. I can. It's turned down way low.
Where's the mouse? Mute the TV and see if this works for you.
Wait for it to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, for anyone who didn't catch that, we're trying to figure out how to get the game audio to pipe to the feed. I think it's not working. Sorry, we've got a really big lag that we're dealing with.
So, yeah.
I'll just unmute.
Okay. Mute that then, because it'll pick it up through the
Gotcha.
mic. You should be good.
Okay.
You
focus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the audio quality is probably, I'm trying to listen on my computer, the quality of the music and sound you're going to hear is pretty bad, but it's probably better than nothing.
Probably should.
So, let's see, where were we at in the feed here? Someone said in a lot of cases, looks like you can use physics to defeat enemies, so, and is that something we want to focus on? Kobe, do you want to talk more about that too? Because you can explain better how the system works.
Yeah, so the physics definitely have a pretty big impact on the game. I mean, it obviously has an impact on how you control the character, but also has an impact on every single interaction. And so, yeah, we definitely wanted to affect combat and puzzle type things. So everything really has like a bunch of different physical properties. You see things get knocked around and bounce into each other. They also have some more subtle properties like resistance to crushing damage and things like that. So whenever you knock, for example, a floating block into a crate, it has a relatively low amount of resistance to crush damage, so it explodes. And the enemies have similar kinds of things. They obviously don't just explode necessarily, since they're actually working off HP. And then some things that we don't have up and running yet that we will be adding, horrible glitch, are things like combustibility, resistance to, for example, acids, as well as like metallic properties to be used for magnetism. So hopefully there's going to be a whole bunch of these different physical properties interacting, and in some cases, you can use physics to your advantage. In some cases, you'll probably be a little bit hamstringed by something unpredictable that happens. It's kind of part of the fun, though, I think.
We don't have a pause, right?
No, you can hit back to go to the title screen.
Take over real quick. Let's see, what else do we have here?
What was highlighted? Have we worked on any big games?
Oh, yeah, big games with a capital B and a capital D.
Yeah, have we worked on them?
I assume like they mean like AAA, like Infamous or.
We worked on
right?
big games like Dora the Explorer and the Zuzu Pets and Moshi Monsters.
Yeah,
they're pretty big with the 6-year-olds.
What was it? It was in the UK on its release. Moshi Monsters outsold Arkham Asylum, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, so that's pretty big. I mean,
we outsold Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So if that answers your.
But if you're not familiar, Moshi Monsters is kind of a kids MMO. More popular in the UK than in the US, but it's definitely picking up steam. And we sort of co-developed that with actually the company that Kobe and I previously worked at, kind of partnered with them. And the contract was through a company out of the UK called Mind Candy, which is the owner of that intellectual property.
We did two of those.
Yeah, so we did two of those under Pixelscopic. And then previous to that, Kobe and I, like I was saying, both worked at a company, Black Lantern, did a lot of games with Nickelodeon, a few with Disney, mainly Nintendo DS work. Yeah. So mainly kids games. We did.
I think you were still doing GBA stuff when you started. So you did.
I worked on the first Dora game that Black Lantern did, and it was their last Game Boy Advance game.
Gotcha.
And then Kobe started like 6 months or less later after I did.
I know,
but we were working all on DS at that point.
I know the first commercial game that I was ever credited on. It was for the DS, and it was John Deere's Harvest in the Heartland.
Oh, actually, let me go
sort
get
of,
some.
sort of Harvest Moon type game. It was actually kind of cool. I mean, it was licensed, right? It was for kids, but
while he's getting some of that, let me look here real quick.
Exist.
Let's see here. What else do we have? The question was, when I purchased the game with pre-alpha access right now, will I get any coming updates? I don't know exactly what that means.
I think like DLC type stuff.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
basically, the short answer to that, if we develop DLC or expansion type, well, I guess I should say expansions through the stretch goals in the Kickstarter campaign, those will all be completely free to backers. So basically, if you back at the $15 level right now, and then we add any expansions from stretch goals, like you get all of that for the $15. But any other expansions, like it's really hard to say if we will do expansions at this point, because it really depends on how, kind of where we're at, like when we release the game, how popular it is. If it sells really well, obviously we'd love to do more expansions. If it sells horribly, then, well, we should probably go find another job or something. So I guess jumping back real quick to here are some games that we worked on. Kobe and I, this is the first game we worked on together. Yeah, Garfield.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Garfield's Fun Fest for the DS, signed by Jim Davis.
I didn't know that. That's kind of
Oh yeah, we sent them off. Kobe didn't, or no, you worked on the Grinch a little bit, right?
I did a lot of virtual.
The Grinch on DS, pretty awesome. I did all the animation for that one. It was fun. Here's John Deere's Harvest in the Heartland, Kobe's first professional game. He worked on Little League World Series, and then this was all, like I said, at our previous employer. But under Pixelscopic, these are the Moshi Monsters games. So
which is the first one was DS only, and the second one was a dual SKU
DS
for DS and 3DS. So. Different items have different mechanics, or they all generally swords you swing.
Okay. So for any given character class, they're going to have a single kind of primary weapon that's their specialty and also differentiates them from other classes. So the rogue uses kind of swords and daggers. The sorcerer would use wands. The gladiator is going to use war hammers. But we're going to have a bunch of different swords for the rogue that will behave differently. So you'll have some with a little bit longer reach, or a wider sweep, or like we said, kind of elemental properties. And we may do some other kind of crazy cool stuff too. Like, this is something that is still, we're still so early on, we haven't even really prototyped a few of these things yet. But, swords with other kind of interesting properties where, maybe you have a sword that shoots a little dagger out, just like not very far, but just a short distance. So it kind of extends your range. So we could do some interesting stuff like that. But then for other weapons, like say if you want to, and actually we'll probably find something here in a second because we haven't talked as much about the item usage yet, but you'll see there's kind of the UI bar in that bottom right corner of the screen. That's for your sub-item queue. So you can hold up to 5 items at a time and cycle between them freely. So as soon as Kobe finds a treasure chest, we'll probably...
And I forget, what did we decide on? Is that 5 items total, and counting your active item, or is that 5 items in the inventory, so 6 total?
Well, and I'm thinking we need to work on some more classes and balance that. Like we might actually reduce it to 4, might increase it to 6.
It's currently 4 plus active.
Who knows? Maybe we'll change it based on the class.
Yeah, this is also early, like everything's kind of in flux. That's something I thought about too. Yeah, like some classes maybe they can carry more, or if the class itself is really powerful, maybe they can only carry like 3 usable items.
So it's like Munchkin, where if you're a dwarf, you can have 6 cards in your hand instead of 5.
So man, Kobe, you need to find some items here.
I'm trying.
You're not
But,
getting
so yeah, the idea is you can pick up, as a rogue, you can pick up, say, a crossbow or even a spear. But most of those items that are weapon types are going to have limited uses. So like if a rogue finds a wand, they can use it, but since they don't really know how to use wands, they can only use it, say, 5 times. And then it sort of is used up, and it'll either vanish from your inventory or you can throw it away.
There's a treasure chest in this room.
So yeah, we should be able to get an item here in just a second and show that off.
It will have a bomb in it.
Nope.
No?
Nothing?
I was pretty sure that I had this set at
Can you,
100% probability.
could you actually just suicide yourself really quick and restart in the...
Could you just die? Just kill yourself off?
Yeah, but why do you want me to restart?
Because the first room usually has some items in it, right?
It has no higher probability than these other crates and pots.
Okay. So is this run through just borked?
No,
No, I've got that. That's earlier.
Oh,